What's up, guys? Welcome back. Hot story for today, and the star of today's video is the Chevrolet Corvette, but the mid-engined version, or what may be a mid-engined Corvette. We'll have to wait and see. But it seems like every few weeks or every month or so there are more spy shots released of this car. And these latest photos, which I'm showing a few of to you, are courtesy of Motor Trend, is where I found them. They have a whole gallery of photos. There's about 30 or 40 photos. I will link the entire gallery in the description below so you can go read their article that they have on it and view the pictures yourself. But as I'm talking, I will have some up on screen as well. So long story short, this is a pretty hot topic in the car world. Forever and a day, obviously everybody knows that the top of the line car that you could get from Chevrolet has always been the Corvette. There's been nothing above that. And it's been rumored for a couple, let's say a year, it's been rumored a lot. And then maybe even a couple years before that, there's always been this kind of general consensus that people thought that the Corvette would make the transition to mid-engined at some point to try to compete with some of the bigger players in the supercar or exotic range of cars, Lamborghini, Ferrari, things like that. So when these spy photos started getting released and more were shown, people got really excited. They're like, look, there it is. That's the Corvette. It is going to be mid-engined, yada, 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 etc. You guys know the deal. This is really not new news. If you're in the if you're an automotive enthusiast, I guess I should say, if you are into cars, you have more than likely seen a lot of these pictures already. But I wanted to give you my take on it a little bit. And so here's the deal. They're clearly out testing this new car, whatever it is, whether it's a mid-engine Corvette or if it's something completely different. It's obviously out testing with what seems to be the new ZR1 Corvette. And both of these cars are pretty far along, apparently, in their design, build, and implementation phases, because if they are testing in the snow, that means they've already passed basic testing, engine failures, driveline failures, body failures, making sure that it is up to par with all US specs and regulations. They've already passed all that if they're at the point now where it just seeing if it performs well in snow. So whatever this car ends up being, as well as this ZR1, they are far along in the process, which means whatever this ends up being, we will probably see it fairly soon with some official photos and release dates and all that information. Here's my take on this, though. Yes, there are some similarities. Both of these cars are very wrapped up and camouflaged, but you can see the midsection of the car from the bottom of the windshield to basically the back of the door or that C-pillar there. And the roof line does look very similar to that of the Corvette that we know. It's got that dual bubble look to it, which is put in place for aerodynamics. It's become very popular. Other than that, though, to be honest with you guys, in my opinion, I don't see that many other similarities. I mean, it could be, it is kind of similar. I mean, yes and no. This could go both ways. They could be using donor parts from the Corvette just to get this car out into production. I mean, you just never know. Or it could very well be a Corvette. But here's why I think that it's probably not going to be labeled a Corvette. Yes, I think it's a Chevy because it's always spied running with other Chevrolet vehicles. And yes, I do think it definitely looks like some sort of mid-engine car, just by the basic design of it. Slim, short front end, probably wouldn't even fit an engine in there, so it's obvious it's got to be behind the running gear. And more than likely, if they're going to spend the money designing a car like this, it's going to be mid-engine and not rear-engine, because outside of Porsche, nobody can ever get that to work right as far as handling. So that's just the way it works. So yeah, I agree that this is some sort of mid-engine car, and yes, it is from Chevrolet, but let's look at what makes the Corvette so popular. and so successful. The Corvette has been successful for a very long time. The reason being is because it's a lot of bang for the buck. You get a lot of performance for a much more reasonable price compared to everything else it competes with. That's why it's been so successful. That's why there's so many sales. That's why they can sell this car on a standard production line and sell so many of them. Because they are reasonably priced. You can get into a very, very high performance car for a very reasonable price, even if you get one spec'd all the way at the top. If you make that platform mid-engined, you completely change the design, you change the business plan for that car, you change a lot of things. It's no longer inexpensive to make. When a car is no longer inexpensive to make, it now bumps it up out of a profitable margin. I talk about this all the time in my videos, where they can make enough money for it to make sense for their business plan. So for them to make the Corvette mid-engine and completely can the standard Corvette as we know and love it, I doubt that's going to happen. In my opinion, I think that this is Chevy's attempt at making their first time appearance in the true exotic car world. I think that, yes, this is a Chevy something. I think that it is mid-engined. Yes, it may very well have some common components to the Corvette, but I don't think they're going to badge it or label it a Corvette. I think the Corvette is going to stay just what it is. Front-engined, rear-wheel drive, as we all have known, we all have loved. It's going to stay just like that. It's going to continue selling in that price point, selling like hotcakes, and then I think there's going to be an additional car that now sits above the Corvette to go after the exotics and the hypercars and things like that. There's a good chance that this car will be dual engine technology, probably a gas and electric technology combined, like a lot of the new super and hypercars are going to. There's a good chance of that. It's probably mid-engine rear drive, and then there's probably electric motors powering the front wheels. We just don't really know. There's not a whole lot of information out of it other than these spy shots, but it looks very cool. In my opinion, I don't think it's a replacement or another spec'd out Corvette. I just think in the grand scheme of things, for a business plan for Chevrolet, that doesn't make any sense. They know that. I think most of the car community knows that. I think that this is going to be an additional car that they're slotting above the Corvette in their lineup of cars, and this is going to be like somewhere in between exotic to hypercar territory, and they're going to go after the big names who currently hold those category titles. And if you know cars, you know who all those guys are. So that's just what I think. I don't think that this is going to be called like Corvette dash mid-engine version or Corvette C7 blah 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 blah, whatever they may call it. I don't think that's going to be the case. This is going to be a separate named and badged car that's going to sit on top of the Corvette, and it's going to be geared and sold to completely different markets. It's not going to be as cheap as the Corvette. The Corvette is still going to be a very reasonably priced performance car, and then this is going to be aimed at those higher end clients that just have so much money they can throw at a Ferrari or a Lamborghini or something like that, the Acura NSX, those kind of cars. This is going to be, they're going after those people with this car, and only time will tell. I am kind of excited to see more information on this car, and I'm ready to see it unwrapped, because the front of it to me looks very Lamborghini-ish, especially in these new shots that they got in the snow. It doesn't, to me, it doesn't look like the Corvette in the front. Midsection, yes, a little bit. And that bubble on the hood, that's what people, on the roof. They keep talking about this bubble on the roof. Well, that's used in every hyper or supercar. That's not specific to the Corvette. That's an aerodynamic technology that has been used for a long time by hypercars and exotics, just to keep the car on the ground at high speeds. The Dodge Viper has been using it. Many of the new Lamborghinis have the same thing. It's been used. It's not specific to the Corvette. So just because the roof lines share that same aerodynamic feature doesn't mean that this will be a Corvette. But it may be. I honestly don't know. I'm curious to know what you guys think. So let me know what you think down in the comments below. Is it going to be a Corvette? Is it not going to be a Corvette? Is it even a Chevy? You know, let me know in the comments if you guys enjoyed this video. Please click a like. If you're not subscribed, I got a lot more car videos coming out. Click that subscribe button and click the bell that's, I think, up in your top right corner. But anyways, thanks so much for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video.